Hello and welcome to the channel. I am your host, Travieso Americano. Please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Do all of those algorithmic-y things that make the channel successful. I'd appreciate it. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We have made it to the middle of the week. Congratulations. Boy, do I have a doozy of a show for you today. We're going to have some fun. But when I said in the thumbnail that this might be the most important political video you ever watch, that wasn't clickbait, that wasn't hyperbole, I meant it. Over the last 20 to 25 years, conservatives in the United States have been alarmed by the rising tide of globalism and socialism. It's just happening. And those groups, those people that are pro-communism, pro-socialism, pro-globalism, it's all the same stuff, have been eroding our rights one by one. Gun rights, speech rights, religious freedoms, freedoms to gather, freedom to your body. Okay? We've been alarmed by this. We've seen CRT taught in our schools. We've seen our taxes being raised through the roof. Government spending that doesn't make a lot of sense. These are each instances of globalism, right? Instances, transactional instances of the socialist web here in the United States and abroad. I mean, this is a worldwide phenomenon. It goes across the West. It's not just the United States. Yes, we have Obama. Yes, we have Biden. Yes, we have Gates, and they are huge players in all of this. But there's also Trudeau. There's also your Klaus Schwabs. We have the entire World Economic Forum focused on this. But what we've always talked about, I keep saying, are the transactions, the what. We keep focusing on the what, which we have to do. We have to preserve our gun rights. We have to preserve our freedom of speech, our constitutional rights. But what that does is, sometimes we ignore the how. And see the how. How are they doing it? How are they wielding this power? That's the most important part. That's the most important part. Because once you understand the how, once you understand how the machine fits together, you know how you can dismantle it. You know where the weak points are, the choke points. And their system certainly has that. And there is a system. There is without a doubt a system that they are using to circumvent democracies across the world using corporate communism. Now, corporate communism is a concept that I came up with 20 plus years ago. What it does is it describes the unholy alliance between government entities, the media, and third-party corporations and non-governmental organizations, those sorts of things. When those three things align, your rights are in danger, and they are aligning like they haven't before. I mean, just watch the media. Watch the mainstream media and tell me that it is not aligned with the Democratic Party and the leftists in the WEF. See, these are the people. They have to take your guns and your speech. Because if you have those things, you can fight back against them. So what they're doing is they're circumventing them, these rights, using the third parties I talked about. It's a genius system. I'm not going to lie. They've done a great job with it. It's not a good thing, but they've done a great job with it. But what this is, it's a cyclical economic power system, and that's what they have to have. You see, to keep this power, to keep moving forward, it has to be cyclical. And for it to be cyclical, it has to be a system. So what they've created is a cyclical economic power system, and they've done so using the tenets of corporate communism, the unholy alliance, the media, NGOs and corporations and governments, and your tax dollars. And your tax dollars. See, that's the most important part of your tax dollars. And no one is speaking about this how. I've never heard anyone else bring it up. I've never heard anyone else define this system for you. I've never heard it. I've never heard anyone define the system. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to define the system right now. I'm going to tell you how it works. Again, I don't think you'll find this anywhere else. People have ideas of it, but they don't have a broad view of the overall concept. They see the trees, I'm going to give you the forest. That's what we're going to do right now. See, this all starts in the United States. It starts with the disbursement of your tax dollars to foreign entities outside of U.S. control. They've been doing that for decades now, decades and decades. But it's become far, far more prevalent since about 1988 or so. Okay. Now all this money goes outside of the United States. It's dispersed outside. It's dispersed to these non-governmental organizations. And those are the linchpins of this as well. You see, those non-governmental organizations, NGOs, these NGOs don't really have any sort of governing body watching over them. There are no watchdogs for these NGOs. And if there are any watchdogs, they're so bogged down in the bureaucracy of their each individual country that these NGOs act with relative impunity. The Gates Foundation, is that an NGO? How about the Clintons? You see, that's how these things work, and they take your tax dollars. You see, they get your tax dollars to help with their global development. But who has oversight about who gets your money? It's your money. Your money. You're paying. You're giving it to them through your taxes. Who has oversight about what these NGOs are doing with your money? Is it in our best interests, meaning the United States? Or is it in the best interests of a small group of people who think they are running things because they're so smart? We have more wars and death than we've ever had before, but they're so intelligent. Are these NGOs taxed by anyone? Can U.S. elected officials be part of an NGO legally? Can they control these entities legally, yet still serve? Maybe in Congress, maybe in the Senate, maybe in the cabinet, or just maybe in the government in general. Is that allowed? Do you know? Does anyone know? Why has no one ever talked about this? I'll tell you the answers. They don't want you to know. The complexity of bureaucracy is their friend. That's how they hide things. So essentially what they've done is weaponized the charity of the United States citizens. They've weaponized our charity for their own benefit. And then when they want to tax us more, they call us bigots for not wanting to be taxed more. For not wanting to give our money away to nameless entities with political ideology that wants to circumvent democracy. But we're the bigots. You see, these NGOs, they work to develop the world, supposedly. Essentially what they're doing they are paying off international agencies and poor countries with your tax dollars. They're paying them off. In any other part of the world, this would be called corruption, but of course they're not really governed, are they? You don't hear a lot about corruption in the UN. That's not a story journalists really get into. I wonder why that is. I'll tell you why. The UN is rampant in corruption. Rampant. Yeah, so these NGOs, they take your money and they spend it. And that's how they create the shadow underbelly of global finance. Again, it's not called corruption when they do it. It's not called corruption when they go to these poor countries, these international agencies, and figure out ways to make themselves wealthier, to make themselves more powerful. They don't have any oversight. Stealing this is all just a pretense, I should say, for stealing from the third world. That's what it is. And you see, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. See, that the cycle is just getting started. So where we are now is we've had the federal government here in the United States. This is all coming from a U.S. point of view, but this could be English, this could be French, it could be anybody. So we give our tax dollars, right? We give our tax dollars. Those tax dollars go to our government. Our government then disperses these tax dollars to these NGOs in other countries. These NGOs that don't have any oversight, that we have no idea what they're actually doing. And they know that. They're using this shadowy underbelly on purpose to enrich themselves. That's what they're doing. So now these NGOs have all of this money and they're supposed to develop, right? They're supposed to use it to develop these countries, okay? Who do you think they're going to choose to give these contracts to? Who are these NGOs going to choose to do the work? They're going to be these multinational corporations. This work. I don't know if any work actually ever gets done. But they're going to do this work to develop the third world nations partnering with these multinational corporations. However, to get those contracts, for the corporations to get those contracts from the NGO, there are political strings attached. This is the rub, where it all comes in. There are political strings attached. You're outside the U.S. government, doesn't matter. They don't have to follow U.S. law outside the United States government, outside of the United States geography, I should say, territory. So, there are political strings attached to these contracts. Of course, these massive contracts, that will create massive amounts of profit. These corporations are going to jump at them. They don't care about the political strings attached. They care about their profit. They care about how much money they're making. So they go ahead and partner with the WEF. They go ahead and partner with these these NGOs. Okay? And since they're third parties, right, these political strings are not just outside of the U.S. It's not just outside of the U.S. It's inside. There are political strings inside. And those are what they are using to circumvent your rights. Because it's a corporation, because Facebook is a corporation, they can tell you what you can say and can't say on their platform. Right? YouTube, same thing. They can choose. And despite the fact that they're taking massive amounts of money from the government, partnering with the government on thousands and thousands of different transactional events, despite all their connection to the government, they can still take your free speech. Your right to talk. Your right to say what's on your mind. They do that, and they've been doing it. Facebook has been doing it. Twitter's been doing it. Thank goodness we have Elon Musk in there now. Twitter's been doing it. They've all been doing it. Banks have been doing it. We just saw PayPal the other day, $2,500. Where do you think that came from? The $2,500 fine for misinformation? When Brian Moynihan, the head of Bank of America, he went a couple of years back, just before the pandemic, and met with the WEF privately. He came out of those meetings with a completely different executive system that he was going towards. A completely different corporate goal, essentially. Profit was secondary at that point. It was the globalism that was number one. The corporate goal had changed to globalism. So that's how they're doing it. But it doesn't even stop there. So let's go over it again. So we have the government taking your money through the taxes, giving it to the NGOs, right? The NGOs then have to contract and give money to multinational corporations for this development, if they're actually doing any development, or if this is just not a cash grab, because these are strings attached contracts, right? So you have the NGOs giving these strings attached contracts to these corporations. Well, now you have finance companies, multinational finance companies, that have to use ESG. This is brand new. ESG, what is that? Environment, social, governance, okay? This is a social credit check. A social credit check. And this is put on the finance company. They've accepted. They didn't even fight it. They didn't even fight it because they're in on it. They're part of this whole system. See, ESG, that is completely 100% globalist, socialist, and communist in nature. There is not even, China has it, okay? It's not even a question. So, why is this important? Well, these NGOs are using these multinational corporations and these multinational financing corporations. So these financing groups have to give credit out, extend credit. They have to extend credit. Who do you think they're going to extend credit to? Being beholden to the ESG, this new ESG model, that goes downstream. Their ESG rating is based on whom they give the money to. So now they have to lend that money to people who have similar leftist beliefs. If they give it to conservatives, that drops their ESG rating, which means they don't get money from the NGOs. That's how all of this works. So what happens when the multinational financing companies, when they do lend that money out, when they are extending business credit, they are extending it to the companies they want to succeed. Those are part of the strings attached. The money has to go to ESG compliant companies. ESG is, by definition, globalist, communist, so on and so forth. That's going to choke off private business that is conservative. There it is, see? They're choking off conservative private business. They want to make it so the only people that have any money, can get any credit in the United States, any business credit, are going to be leftist companies. And they do that because then when they extend the credit, they extend it to leftist companies, then they can have make those leftist companies comply with ESG, comply with communism and socialism. So then a bank can tell you that because of your Facebook post, Bank of America can tell you don't have an account anymore because you made a Facebook post they didn't like. Twitter. Well, Elon has Twitter now, so we'll give that a rest. I like Elon quite a bit. YouTube. Instagram. You say something they don't like, they can close your account. They've done it. It's already happening. So now you have lost your rights, your freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, your freedom of assembly, because based on third parties, based on corporate third parties who are being paid by your tax dollars originally. See how all that connects? You're literally paying for your own imprisonment. You're literally paying to have your rights taken away from you. No one else is talking about this. No one else has put all this together, but it's what's happening. It took me a long time to figure it out. Like I said, I spearheaded the concept of corporate communism 20 plus years ago. I'm a former attorney. I've worked for Congress. I know what I'm talking about here. I've worked in finance. This is real. This is what is happening. This is what they are doing. However, there are choke points. What we need to do as conservatives is focus our attention on those choke points and not worry about anything else. Focus on getting funding to NGOs using our tax dollars stopped. If we can stop that, we have done something. It's going to be difficult, but that's a choke point. We can also change the laws of the NGOs they give to. We can add all sorts of complex bureaucracy to have the bureaucracy in our favor this time and make them prove who they're giving it to and why these NGOs deserve it and what they're going to do with it. We can require oversight, American oversight, if we give away this money. Sorry, my computer went down there, and hopefully that didn't stop the recording. But so this is how it's working. It's the how. We can now focus on those choke points. We can focus on ways to stop them and preserve our rights. The whole system is set up is to enrich themselves, which it does, to be cyclical, which it is, and to take away and circumvent your rights, which it does. It's a political ideology. They have instituted a political ideology in secret meant to use third parties in the media to circumvent your rights. It all trickles down to you. That's the whole point of it. I remember in the 80s, trickle-down economics doesn't work. They certainly have seemed to weaponize it, because trickle-down politics is certainly working. You can't go into Walmart and speak your mind anymore. Walmart. You can't go into a grocery store and buy batteries without the political sermon. You can't do it. It's everywhere. It's going to get worse until we stop it. These strings attached come from our money. It's our money. Yours and mine. They only have this power because they have figured out a way to take it from us. So it's time we take it back. It's time we use this information that we now have, the how, and stop these people. Attack those choke points. All these corporations that are in on it. We all know that. I talked about that in another video. Apple can sell 2 iPhones if it were more than 2 iPhones. Apple can redistribute your wealth, and you only need 1 iPhone, right? Maybe 2. If it redistributes your wealth, maybe it can sell 5 iPhones. That makes more accounts on Facebook, more accounts on Instagram, TikTok. See, it all works together. The only way to stop it is to understand the how and focus our fire, our political fire, on those points to change the laws and bring back our country. Thanks for watching the channel, everybody. I know this was long, but I think it's the most important video you might ever hear. I think we can do this. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you think I'm a whack job, hey, cool, let me know. If you're looking to be part of it, let me know about that too. But we need to start focusing on dismantling this system, or it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. We all know, we've seen the memes. You'll rent and you'll like it. You'll eat bugs and you'll like it. All those Klaus Schwab quotes. It's coming. We now have the information to stop it. Let's do that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe down below. Be sure to stay tuned for our Friday allowance happy hour collecting show on Friday. I will also have a Tiger Woods PGA 2023 review for you tomorrow. Sorry that got pushed back. I didn't buy the version of the game that got the pre-order early. So, buying the cheaper version of the game, I don't get the pre-order early. But I will get that for you. But again, Friday we have that happy hour show, and then Sunday we're going to have our second episode of the Biblical Prophecy Show. So you're going to want to stick around with that. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.